Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine is now the epicenter of the battle. Russian and Ukrainian forces are locked in a gruesome exchange, battling through the streets of the eastern city. After months of fighting, the tide is changing against Kiev. Reports from the front lines indicate that the Russian troops have encircled Bakhmut and are tightening their grip with every passing hour. The Wagner Group is leading the fight for Russia here, and it issued a warning to Kiev asking Ukrainians to abandon the city. Wagner Group claims it has now almost completely surrounded the city, and only one road is still open for Ukraine's soldiers. The city's capture would have mostly symbolic value for the Kremlin. However, despite the overwhelming odds, the Ukrainians are digging in deep.
This area is under constant shelling. We are trying to suppress the enemy. They throw cannon fodder at us. Mostly we hit equipment because we operate 152 caliber, and that is how we help our infantry.
Ukraine is reinforcing the area with elite units, while regular Russian army and forces of the Russian private military Wagner Group have made further advances into Bakhmut's northern suburbs. On Saturday, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu carried out an inspection of the front line in eastern Ukraine. Shoigu handed out awards to servicemen and women. Moscow says the defense minister was in southern Donetsk region without specifying the exact place or time. Right now, this is how Bakhmut looks. Months of artillery fire has reduced the city to rubble. Not a single building seems intact, showing how relentless the shelling has been. This small industrial city, known for its salt mines, used to be home to some 70,000 inhabitants. But now it is a ghost town, battered and bruised. The fighting has forced most of its residents to flee. Those remaining were forced to hide in basements, only venturing out for essential food and fuel. But even those are now fleeing as they have no access to gas, electricity or water.
We are leaving. We remained until the very last. We wanted to stay, but how can we? Our neighbor's flat has now been destroyed. It is time to go.
As per the latest reports, there is intense Russian shelling of routes leading west out of Bakhmut, an apparent attempt to block Ukrainian forces' access in and out of the city. Ukrainian soldiers are working to repair damaged roads, and more troops are rushing toward the front line in a sign that Ukraine was not yet ready to give up the city. Ukrainian Air Force is providing crucial air support on the grounds to the troops. The helicopters play a vital role in delivering ammunition and provisions, evacuating the wounded and dead. For Russia, victory in Bakhmut will be a stepping stone in capturing the surrounding Donbas region, an important war aim. Its capture could possibly allow the Russians to try to advance westwards towards Kramatorsk, but the city was well defended during the previous attack. This time, however, a retreat by Kiev could well be on the cards. Now, for more on this, we are being joined live by Dr. Lada Roslich, who is the founder of Black Trident Defense and Security Consulting Group. Thank you for being with us, Doctor. Now, we are getting reports that indicate that the Russian troops have encircled Bakhmut and are closing in. Do you think that Bakhmut will fall to Russia?
Well, I think at this point the Ukrainians are three two-thirds surrounded by the Russians, and in contrast to Russia's behavior with its men, Ukrainians do not use their soldiers as meat fodder or cannon fodder. Sorry. So I think that it's a very high chance that we will be seeing a retreat, albeit a temporary retreat. It's important to note, though, that Bakhmut is not a strategically important city for the Russians. As had been mentioned earlier, it is a very symbolic move for the Russians, and that symbolism is something that they desperately need.
Right. Now, do you think that the Ukrainian forces will retreat to escape encirclement and avoid a bloody siege like that of Mariupol? And then what will happen going forward?
That would be the logical and humane act to do, is to retreat while there is still a chance to do so. That having been said, we do not really know what the military intelligence is on the ground and what surprises could be waiting the Russians and the horrible Wagner group individual. It's important to note that the Wagner group lost about 70 to 80% of their men right in the area of Bakhmut, which was when Wagner turned to the Russian prisons and started using prisoners, to give you an indication of the Russian situation with manpower as well.
Right, and this battle does seem to be mostly fought by the Wagner mercenary group. And take us through the details of the importance of this being fought by Wagner.
Well, first of all, Wagner is a transnationally organized criminal group, and the fact that it is being fought under the command and in cooperation with the Russian Federation has dire international legal resonance for them. And the Russians, unfortunately, have a lot of manpower, many more men than Ukraine. But Ukraine's men are better trained, although we definitely need to have much more intensified training here of Ukrainians. The skill set is reflected in the presented numbers of dead. The official numbers are 7 Russians to each 1 Ukrainian. And put that inside of a frame where Ukraine is in desperate need of shells. And the Ukrainians are using approximately 8,000 shells per day, while the Russians are shooting out 20,000 per day in that territory.
Right, Doctor, thank you very much for joining us and with your valued insights there.
Thank you.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.